Empower Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan, and I definitely have an incredible guest today that is going to share so much information with you. Her name is Barbara, and she has had a successful 30-year career in the real estate industry, and it's built on her diverse and rich experiences working internationally in Fortune 500 and small companies, and as a serial entrepreneur, a savvy real estate investor, and an award-winning designer with a passion for travel. She focuses especially on women who want to break free with diverse and passive income streams. Yay! Barbara and her highly knowledgeable team provide a powerhouse partnership. So excited for her to join us today. Welcome, welcome, Barbara. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, Angela, and thank you for having me today.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your journey. How did you get started, and kind of where you're at today in your business and what you're focusing on?
Absolutely. So you mentioned, I was, for a long time I was in corporate. However, I always had my little side gigs. So there was always, that entrepreneurial spirit, on the side bank, was kicking in different variations. So when I came to the US, I actually, met some people, and at a certain point we had conversations with a friend, and she said, "Hey, I'm going to this real estate seminar. Are you joining me?" I said, "Yeah, I am interested. Let's do that." So, and the rest is history. That's pretty much how the real estate journey began, and we bought our first flip.
Gotcha. Flipping industry has definitely been it's difficult right now. There's less inventory for that opportunity. And for those that are looking to fund it, obviously interest rates are a little bit higher now too. So where's your focus today when you're helping your clients?
Yeah. So, over the years and, going back, for several years and decades now, sometimes, decades, okay. But it has shifted a bit. So we pretty much ventured from the single family into short-term rentals, just for another additional opportunity to pay off and really own real estate quicker and tap into equity. And in addition, then 2 years ago, I started in the multifamily space in utilizing this combined strategy, which I felt has, a lot of advantages, because through the different write-offs on passive income stream, I had not had to pay, and of course 1031 exchanges, whenever you're selling, buying real estate, these two strategies seem to intermingle really nicely to reduce the amount of taxes I would owe to the government. So it was a strategic move.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the short-term rentals. I know a lot of the audience might be familiar with like Airbnb, VRBO. Talk about more around the strategies and tips in that arena. If someone wants to go down the short-term rental route, what are some tips that you would advise for them?
Well, like in real estate, no matter what, the number one rule is location. So I know pretty much, everybody says, you're making money when you buy, at the right, when you buy it was for the right price. However, I want to add a little caveat to that, because it is really understanding location, right? You can buy something, for a good price in that market at that point in time. However, the appreciation over time plays a major role. So I think that is, and it is not always as easy and straightforward, right? If we all would have the magic ball and would know how everything, is working out. However, there's a lot of data available. So the same applies for the short-term rental. When the hype was really big and everybody also went into the rental arbitrage, which is pretty much like a subleasing a property and renting it out, in simple terms, I was very cautious, because in our area, they already started, to put like a showstopper into the regards of what you can do and not to. And I'm talking about government and regulations. So that is another part to really stay always on top and being involved. Luckily, I have a great network built over the last 25 years in tapping into different elements, if that is government, if there is changes, if it's people who are, more on the commercial side, knowing what is happening in certain areas. And then there's an element of patience, right? If you have the opportunity to run the waves of the market and choose when you are, when you sell, has a major impact, as well. So luckily I could do that. And, and over the last, 2-3 years, definitely have seen nice improvements in some of the sales of some of the properties. The only difference now is I combine and change that and move money into the multifamily space as an investor, but also as a co-GP.
Very nice. And also investors need to know their numbers, right? Because we are in a market that we haven't seen before, where interest rates have spiked pretty quickly over a short amount of time. But also, I'm in Florida. I just sold an insurance company that I had for 4 years. And the
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. But the insurance numbers, we used to be able to rely on looking at the seller's policy when we were buying a property. But now I tell clients, double, triple that number depending on where you're at. We have seen double and triple growth here in Florida over the past few years. So it's really impacted the numbers. So they have to be able to foresee that future as well, because you might have some increase with revenue when rents go up, but you have to also think about the numbers piece of it with your taxes and your insurance as well.
Absolutely. Great advice. Yes.
So where are you investing, or what markets do you find are having the best numbers right now?
Well, and again, I know my market here in and out and around Atlanta, and that is where I try to focus if I am, really involved, not purely from as a co-GP in the multifamily space, but also in the short-term rental space for now. From an investment perspective, I think a lot really depends on the trust and the track record of the syndication teams. So that is, I look at that a little bit different, but I like, to focus and love to continue to collaborate with people in this area. For that, we actually have set up a little face-to-face and monthly group in the multifamily investing space, and getting together. I'm co-leading that with a couple of colleagues, and so we love, doing that together.
Yeah, and that's a great tip too. If you're going to get started in investing, whether it's short-term multifamily or a single-family home, start in your own market, because you know your market. You know areas are good. You know areas are growing, and so to start there is a good tip for a lot of investors, especially if you haven't been in the space before. And then you can go check up on your rentals. You can see how everything is going, how it's being managed if you've hired someone, or if you're managing it yourself, you want to be able to go there as well, correct?
Absolutely. And I think, that's the other big part, right? It's the asset management element, understanding, what is the business plan. But because no matter what, investing is like buying a business. And I look at that, from the overall perspective, if this is the single house, or if that is the multifamily. I think what I would love for us, women also to come up with, numbers are not always sexy, but they are very, very important to understand. And I think, sometimes as we're, if we're looking at it, how numbers and investments have been shared in the past, really finding a couple of new and more fun ways to make it, as call it again, more sexy for us to really fall in love with the numbers, which is so important, and also a big passion of mine, really taking women onto this journey on educating them on other ways to build income, because I think there's still too much relying on the partner or partnership. And, it doesn't matter what age group, right now, the truth is only 30% of women, roughly, are really on the investment space. Most of them are even mature in their life, and the numbers have not changed, from 2007 when I wrote my first book and co-authored it to today, unfortunately, has not really changed a lot.
Yeah, I hear that too, or if a woman becomes an investor, it's an accidental investor to where she's inherited property or her spouse has passed away and now she is the main person for the investor. So let's switch topics real quick and see. I have a question for you. If you had a super talent or superpower, what would it be and why?
Well, I think my superpower is always has been called like this little Mrs. Sunshine from a connecting perspective, but I'm connecting on vibration. So I think that is, a superpower. A lot of people were sharing and telling me as well. So I am very focused now, listening on how I feel. It's not even what somebody accomplishes, but I feel strongly as more as we're really understanding, us, as better we can connect with others. And it's okay that we're not loved by everybody, right? That's okay. It's absolutely okay. But the people you're connecting with, that can be absolutely amazing. So I think that's the part. Not everybody has to love us. So I think that's absolutely okay. They can like us, that's okay, but they don't have to love us.
Yeah, I love that. I do. Actually, I love that because so many times we're trying to please everybody and it's just impossible. So stop trying to do that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Barbara, if our audience wants to get in touch with you and learn more about short-term rentals or multifamily investing, how do they reach you?
Well, the best is really to contact me at barbara@barbarahs.com. It's the website, and I also have the little, QR code up there and connecting. And there's opportunity to set up a short intro Zoom call with me. Love that part. Love empowerment. Love collaboration and mastermind. So love that way to really collaborate and make things moving and shaking for us.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for being on Empower Her Money podcast. And we will be back next week interviewing another powerhouse female entrepreneur, providing the best tips and money tips for all of the ladies. Thank you again, Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela.